Hello, whistlers everywhere. So today I'm going to talk about the transition from high whistles to low whistle. When I say low whistle, I mean sort of a low D or an E, E flat, possibly an F, anywhere where we kind of really advise to use what we call piper's grip. So I'm going to start with grip and about the ergonomics. And again, we want to try and keep the tension to a minimum in our fingers, because in order for us to be able to play freely and move our fingers freely, and we need to have a relaxed finger position. So what I do, starting from the top, first finger, second finger, third finger. Now this finger here is more on the actual pad, but that's fine because we get a good seal that way. And right hand, same kind of thing. So if I'm going to play a scale, I'm going to go. So having good coverage of the holes is really important. So some of you may be used to playing whistle, low whistle with the tips of your fingers. Now this is not going to be easy on a low whistle, so that's why we always advise the piper's grip. And that works nicely, and you can also keep your fingers nice and relaxed. That's the important thing. So with piper's grip, yeah, we want to try and keep everything in our shoulders, neck, arms sort of relaxed, and you're just basically holding your whistle in front of you like this, and yeah, keeping it down. Now, for those people with maybe shorter arms or smaller hands, you may end up sort of lifting your arms to play like that. Now, if possible, it's better to keep your arms down and relaxed by your side, because here you're actually introducing tension by doing this. By lifting your elbows, you're actually introducing a tension that wouldn't otherwise be there, because you're supporting your arms. Yeah, so you're introducing tension into your shoulders and to your elbows, and therefore it's going to go into your wrists as well. So if at all possible, it's better to try and just have a relaxed posture like that. However, if your anatomy may be different from mine and from other people's, in which case you may have to lift your arms in order to get the right hand position, but it's better to sort of try and keep everything relaxed, because by doing this, again, you're kind of introducing tension into your fingers, but also you're sort of having your wrist at an angle which might not be very comfortable, and you might start getting wrist cramps, finger cramps, etc. But if that's possible, great. If it's not possible, then you may have to raise your elbows in order to play like this. But as I said, it's better just to keep everything soft and relaxed. So have a go and see if your anatomy will allow you to do this position. So you just keeping the whistle out in front of you and allowing it to just rest in your fingers and on your bottom lip. The other thing you may want to try is to take some of the tension off your fingers if you feel the need to, is maybe try and get some sort of thumb support here if you really need to. Or I have seen people using things like saxophone or clarinet neck straps and just putting like a loop here, maybe a piece of string or even an elastic band with a little loop, and which you can hold it, and then that takes the weight from your fingers and your arms and puts it around your neck. So there you're not, again, not using your fingers to support the whistle. So that might be something which you could try. It might help you. So finger positioning, here we go, that's my finger positioning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And often I rest my little finger there for support. However, if your little finger doesn't reach there, you can use this finger here when you get above the note G. You can do a G, it has a slight flattening effect. But the A, it has no effect, and the B, it has no effect. I'll show you. So G, minimal flattening effect. A, and B, and C sharp. Yeah, it's difficult to play a C sharp. Normally what I do is support, as I said, with my pinky here, my right hand pinky. But yeah, if you need to do that, then that's fine. So you can keep that finger down. F is a no-go because you'll get a very flat note. And of course, if you do that on an E, you'll get a different note entirely, which is a D. So you might want to think about using this finger to support the whistle if you can't use your pinky. Or some people use both, but don't use this finger below the note G if you can help it. And if you can get away with it, a G's probably, A would be a good place to start putting that finger down. So it'd be. So if you need to use that finger for support, it's absolutely fine. You've got to try and make the low whistle work for you. With it being a much bigger instrument, you may have to adapt some of the finger placement that you're used to and start incorporating some of the anchoring techniques that I use and that a lot of whistle players use, low whistle players use, to help support the whistle, but also to take the pressure off actually holding the whistle with any of your fingers. Yeah, like I said right from the get-go, you want to keep your fingers relaxed and soft, and they shouldn't be involved at all in really supporting the whistle. They should be free so that they can move quickly and lightly up and down the whistle. So that's a little bit about piper's grip and ergonomics of that. Like I said, you know, if you have to play like that, you're putting undue stress onto there. So if you can relax those shoulders and the arms, keep them nice and relaxed, that's really the best position. And in terms of how you have it out vertically like that, again, if you hold it very far up like that, yeah, again, you're engaging your shoulders, you're engaging other muscles, which can fatigue and cause cramping in your wrists, yeah. You want to try and avoid that. You want to try and just keep it in a nice, relaxed, sort of almost like a 45-degree angle, which I find optimum. Again, if you're playing like that, it's not the most comfortable or ergonomic way of doing it. So again, you're just following sort of a stream 45-degree angle from there to there. So holding the whistle, piper's grip, yeah, just in an arc, just bring it up, and there you've got a good position there for your fingers. So we've talked about the ergonomics, and we talked about piper's grip, and we've talked about the importance of keeping your fingers light, and we've also mentioned about using this finger if you can't use your little finger, or maybe even using them both if you need to anchor the whistle. But again, yeah, make sure you don't keep that finger down below G really, because you're going to have problems with intonation. Right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is breathing. So again, more importantly than anything in terms of tone production is how we breathe and how we use diaphragmatic breathing to create a good solid sound in both registers. So a little exercise which I like to do for people beginning low whistle and maybe haven't played it is start from the G position, the 3 fingers down, And then we want to try and develop the diaphragmatic breathing, but we also want to try and bring out the very bottom note. So we just go down the scale slowly from the G. Now all the tone is coming from your diaphragm, so you're pushing. Yeah, you don't want to push so much that you go up into the second octave, but you want to get a good strong tone on that bottom D. And so when you hit that bottom note, you're going to push with your diaphragm. And if you push too hard, you will, as I said, go up into the second register. So it's focusing your breathing, so you're focusing it, pushing with your diaphragm and finding the right spot for that bottom D. And then you can do the same thing with the E. And then what I like to do is to go then from the B all the way down, and then to the E, to the F, to the G, to the A, and then just the B on its own. So it's going. And if you move any of your fingers, you will lose the note like I did just there. So. Covering the holes and sealing them properly is absolutely vital, or else you will lose that bottom note. In fact, you'll lose any of the notes and you'll just get like a squeak. So getting familiar with the hole positions, the tone hole positions, and your fingering is really important. And even just sitting with the low whistle, you can be, I don't know, watching telly or doing something else, holding the whistle and just getting used to where the fingering and the holes are, and practicing just moving your fingers up and down. It's also good, it's familiarising yourself with how it feels under your fingers, so it's quite an important thing. Right, so the next breathing exercise, again, it's not hugely interesting, but it's a good one, is to blow octaves. Go from low to high, and then back down to low again. So it's like this, starting with the low D. An E. B. Now the higher up you go from G, A and B, you will need to push quite a bit of air to get a clean jump between the registers. So B and A and G, you need to push quite a bit. Now this is where the diaphragm control is essential in order to get the clean jumps. And just blowing long notes is also really good practice as well. So you don't have to do these exercises quickly. In fact, I recommend you take your time and practice them at a slow pace. So we want to try and aim to get a clean jump just using your diaphragm control from low to high. So So you do want to get that clean break between the different registers. And once you get good at that, then you can add a little bit more and do it a little bit quicker, but do not let the quality of the breathing or anything like that go to pot, because it's important we still get that clean jump between the low and the high registers. So and then come back down again. That's a really useful breathing exercise to help you jump from low to high and back down again. And again, it's all about developing the right diaphragm control and the right airspeed that you need to push through the low whistle in order for you to be able to move between registers without having to rely on tonguing. Important skill to develop on all whistles, not just low whistle. Right, so last bit of low whistle introduction stuff which I like to do is just a little finger articulation exercise. And again, what you can do once you've got it is to incorporate it into doing it in different registers. So you're doing a few things at once. You're working on your finger dexterity and you're also working on your diaphragm and breath control. But first I'll just show you the basic finger exercise which I like to do. So we'll start from the B, and go down to the D in the first register. And we're just going to move in groups of 3. So we're going to go. Tongue the first note and let your fingers do the rest. And then reverse it. And once you can do that comfortably, put them together. Now what I was doing when I was getting down to the bottom D, I was tonguing to go back up, but you can equally do it in one breath, but just cut the bottom D, so you can go. And if you're doing it a few times, you can cut the B to start again like this. And what we do in the low register, we repeat in the upper register. So same thing. And again, substituting that tonguing for cuts. So once we can do that, we can put the exercise together, going all the way down from the high B, going across the break, all the way down to bottom D. So we can go. I'll do that again. And then we'll go back up. Takes a bit of breath, but again, it's all about developing your breath control. And once you can do that, it's important to keep the rhythm absolutely rock solid. Da 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 da. And then back up again. Keeping the rhythm absolutely rock solid. It's important to do these finger articulation exercises and make sure that you're really keeping the rhythm solid. You can work with a click, you can work with a metronome, but yeah, make sure you don't set it too quickly. I would suggest maybe starting off at 60 and breathing when you need to breathe, so maybe just do the first group. Okay, so once you've done that with a C sharp, you can then do it with a C natural. Now, however your C natural works on your low whistle, MKs work nicely with that, but they also work nicely with the two-fingered cross fingering as well. So whichever your whistle likes the C fingering, use that one. And the same sort of exercise, but we're going to substitute the C natural for the C sharp. So we're going to go now this is good exercise because it makes you move the C natural fingering coming from different notes, and it's important to get that sort of dexterity for moving the C natural. So again, and going up. And if you get really good, you can go down and up. I'm going to attempt it, but I can't guarantee I'll be able to do it successfully in one breath. So. Well, there you go. 2 breaths, but it's not so important to be able to do it all in one breath. The idea is to try and get the rhythm and to get the finger dexterity. The other way you can do this is to do it in octaves. So you can go or you can even break it down to and go up to high D if you should so desire to. So there's things you can play around with in terms of finger dexterity exercises. The other one I like to do, and I'm throwing a lot of information at you here, but there's a lot to talk about in terms of finger dexterity exercises. There's a whole load of exercises which I've developed, but this one, another one, again, you can start in the lower register. You can go from that middle D down to the bottom. You can go moving in thirds. So I'm just going. And then when I go back up, reverse it. And again, like the other one, you can start at the top, go all the way down. So you can go from high B all the way down to the bottom D. And reverse. Yeah, you can do it all in one breath and do it really quickly. I'm not even going to attempt that here because it's something which I don't think I'll be able to do, but doesn't mean you can't. Well, I surprised myself there. I didn't think I'd be able to do it, but there you go. So a little bit of low whistle about making the transition from high whistle to low whistle. So some really important bits of advice for you. When you're practicing, if it starts to hurt, if it starts to cramp up, if you start to get aches and pains, rest. Don't try and push through the pain barrier. There's no need to do that. You're looking at slowly developing the necessary skills, the necessary grip. And if it becomes painful, it's not fun, it's not enjoyable. So the idea is to maybe practice a little bit, maybe 4 or 5 times throughout the day, rather than doing a whole hour or a couple of hours trying to play and doing yourself a mischief, as they'd say. So, important thing, keep your fingers relaxed. Ergonomics of your shoulders. If you have to raise your arms like that in order to play, it's not ideal because you are introducing tension. But if you've got short arms or small hands, it might be the only way in which you can play low whistle. And I'm sure eventually you'll be able to develop the necessary musculature in which to support the whistle and to keep your fingers soft. Again, use a neck strap, use whatever devices you feel may help you to support the whistle without introducing stress. Stress is the most difficult thing to keep out of whistle playing, and it's the most important thing not to introduce that kind of tension into your arms if you can help it. Again, we don't want to have to introduce tension or stresses anywhere, but if it's transmitted then through your arms into your fingers, it's always going to be difficult then to keep your fingers soft. So breathing, again, really important thing about diaphragmatic breathing. Shallow breathing from your chest, you are simply not going to have enough breath or get enough air to blow through the whistle to make a good tone, and also you're going to have to do a lot of breathing. So more importantly than any other kind of high whistle, the low whistle really requires that diaphragmatic breathing in order to get a good tone. So if I'm playing I'm not really getting a good solid breath there, but if I want to play, I'll play a bit of a slow air and show you what I mean by developing tone. So all of that was driven from diaphragmatic breathing, from pushing with my diaphragm. It's how you get the tone, it's how you develop the tone, and it also gives you a much bigger reservoir for breathing and a much bigger area to push the air that's necessary through the low whistle. Just one little thing about maybe doing sort of vibrato or playing or introducing vibrato. My advice would be not to at first. There are a few whistle players who use vibrato and finger vibrato, which is much more traditional way of using vibrato, but it's a habit that you can easily develop, is to play the whistle with a sort of vibrato, like which is fine if you want to play the whistle that way, but it's not really a kind of traditional way of doing it. And also it's not that controlled, and if you're having to play the whistle like that, which is fine for certain tunes, but it may not always lend itself to a particular style of whistle playing. So it's always good to be able to do something, what I say, mindfully, so that you actually know what you're doing and you're not doing things on automatic pilot. So when you're doing these tone development exercises, I would suggest no vibrato at all. Keep the tones pure and work on developing a pure tone, a strong tone, a developed tone, and use your diaphragm so that it's not quavering and giving you that sort of vibrato, but giving you a strong, direct tone. So, like this. Yeah, so my advice would be to avoid any kind of fluctuations, vibrato, that kind of thing. Okay, I think that's about it. Any other questions you may have on transitioning from high to low whistle, or any questions regarding low whistle playing, or any whistle questions for that matter, you can drop me a line or an email at I'm so used to websites, at ben@benwalker.org. You can find me on Facebook, or you can leave a comment here on the YouTube channel. I'll try and answer all the questions that come my way. And if you have any suggestions for further YouTube videos, send them along and I will happily do something if I can. So that's about it, folks. Thanks for watching, and if you found what I've done useful today, if you would possibly like and subscribe, tell all your friends, tell all your neighbours, even if they don't play whistle, doesn't matter, they might be inspired to join and to learn whistle. A bit of shameless self-promotion here. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks, and I will see you shortly for another video on the Whistleblower channel. Okay, bye for now.